I'm going to give you an introduction to Next.Js. So, has anyone worked with Next.js or know what it is?
I haven't.
Me neither.
It's
What
like
about?
a server-side thing for React, right? I mean, it
Yeah,
says that as well.
yeah. So let's move on. So here's what the other things that we are going to talk about today. So what is Next.js? Why we should use Next.js, and I'm going to give you a small introduction about server-side rendering and client-side rendering, and also we'll be finishing with a quick demo. So what is Next.js? So Next.js is an open source React front-end development web framework. So the main reason the Next.js is popular is it gives us server-side rendering. Uh, in case you're wondering, React is client-side rendering. So with Next.js, with Next.js it enables us to use server-side rendering. So that's why Next.js popular. So if we so the, if you look at some of the reasons to use Next.js, it gives us image optimization and a great way to manage your file system using Next.js router, and it also have this fast refreshing feature, so you don't have to refresh your browser every time when you're developing it, and also it supports TypeScript. Um, so server side rendering versus client side rendering. So each of these method has pros and cons, but um, the main reason to use server side rendering over client side is it's a little bit faster when you're going to a web page. If it is using server side rendering, it loads faster than client side rendering. For if we let me show you, it is in a diagram. So this is server side rendering. So in server side rendering, it just gets an HTML response to the browser, and the browser just renders the page as soon as it got uh, the HTML response, and it waits for these JavaScript files and the React to start so that we can interact with the page. So it just paint your uh, browser with the content. So we can't use it as soon as we see the content, and also this for this all the process it takes like 2 seconds or something like that. So with client side rendering, we have to wait until JavaScript and React and everything get rendered to the DOM in order to view it, and also to interact with it. So if you can see in here, uh, it just show you the web page before it gets that JavaScript files and React things to the browser. So so that's why we are considering server-side rendering to over client-side rendering because it's faster. Helps. It has high performance, and it helps user to keep within the web page because it take less time to load. So who uses Next.js? Uh, so as you can see, I list down some of the uh, web pages that use Next.js. So as you can see, Twitch, TikTok, Hulu, IGN, and AT&T. Those they are using Next.js, and there's a lot more. There's lot more websites that use Next.Js. Um, so yeah, let's have a quick demo. So you can get the just like it's the same. It's just like React. So it have a different file structure and small things are changed. So when you're creating a React app, we use create next React app. But when you're creating a Next.js app, we are using create next app and we give it a name. Let's give the name of demo and let's hope that I don't have a direct name called demo. Um, so as you can see, it's just downloading the file, just same as the create React app, but it's download the boilerplate code for with the Next.js configuration. So it takes some time. Until that, you can have a look at the documentation. Oh, and I also forgot to share you this this Medium article, and it explains this server-side rendering and client-side rendering thing way better than me, way better. So I just drop it in here. Okay, I didn't copy it. And this one also shows the pros and cons of this, each of these method. So it takes some time. Okay, so it's done. So let's go to the more and got the got the initial project set up. So I'm going to open it using IntelliJ. So this is the initial project structure. So as you can see, there's a directory called pages and a public. So this public folder serves the same purpose as in React. So it just, if you have static files, you can just drop it here, special images. So this in Next.js, everything is I told you that this has a great routing system. So in here, every page you create goes under this pages directory. So in here you can see the index file. So let me just create another page. So this is going to be JavaScript file because we haven't configured TypeScript in here. So I guess it is about so just okay. So even though it's in the program, it's the directory structure is pages slash about, but since this in Next.js we don't consider this pages route. So if you go to about, it shows the code. So that's how the routing goes. So in here we have the so in React, since React is considered as so yeah, as you can see, I didn't refresh the browser. It just refresh the DOM as soon as it saw change. So yeah, I'll get back to the code. The what I was going to tell you is that React is gives us a single page app. So when you are adding meta tags and headers and stuff, it's hard. You have to use some plugins and stuff to achieve that. But with Next.js, it gives us this head component. We can just use it here. So yeah, we have to wrap it. Can just use this, and here we can just set the title. This is the about page. Okay. As you can see, the title change. So in here, you can add the meta tags, the usual meta tags and the title. So even the page is changed, you can give it its own title and own meta tags. So that is this header component from Next. And when it comes to dynamic web pages, so let's say we have something like users. So I'm going to create the directory called users. In here, I'm going to have a dynamic route, so it has to change every time. So in here, I'm going to give its name like this. Let's say its username. Let's see. Yeah, this is. Let's see how to. So yeah, so as you can see, let's use this. I give it this dynamic name. So in here it's username. So every time, let's get, so if I go, it's like home slash what was this, users slash, let's give a name, going to render the page based on this username. So let's say we need to access that username. So in here we have the next router. So it's just like the React DOM router. So I'm going to create monster router, this router, and I need to get the username. So it's, let's get const username router query. Let's display it here. Username. It's going to show your name. Yeah, just like that. That's how this dynamic web routing works. Um, so and also here also you can. So we talked about React. Next router, Next head, and we have the next link component also. It also works same as the link component from the React router. So let's say have a button. And let's go to the about page. Yep. Yeah, just like that, we can go to the about page. So that's React. Sorry, next link component. So in here, when it comes to creating API routes, you can use this one to create the API routes. So I haven't worked with API routes using Next.Js, but it also can be done. So in here, if we go over the documentation, we can see this how to configure TypeScript, and also this image optimization thing. It also a image component from the Next library, and the special thing about that image component is you can uh, render with different resolutions based on your sorry, your device size. So yeah, as you can see, it says you can say if the device size is 640, you can use image size as 16. So that's how it's going to optimize your images based on your screen. um, so uh, yeah, so the fast refreshing feature is also available. If I go to back then 2020, you don't have to refresh, it just the loads it to the browser. So if you can remember my last session, I used in when I was when I was doing my session on Tailwind CSS, I use this Next.js to the demonstration. So this thing goes very well with the Tailwind CSS. Uh, so yeah. That's it. Any questions? For the next front end project we are going to do, we can use Next.js with TypeScript configured, and instead of using a component library, we can use Tailwind CSS. So that will be our next tech stack for safe. I think that goes very well. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for listening.